What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader, and a lot of you guys have been enjoying the TF2 guides. So today we're back with the next class guide, and today we're going to be featuring the Pyro. Now we featured, I think, 3 classes at this point. We did the Scout, we did the Sniper, and we did the Spy. So this is going to be the 4th class guide. So today we're covering the Pyro. So I'm going to be running through some quick tips. Don't really want to make this guide too long. So basically the lowdown is Pyro has 175 base health. If you are actually using a medic with you, you do actually get boosted up to 260. So you can be pretty tanky. They're not squishy as the classes like the Scout and Spies or Snipers, so they can take quite a lot of beating in comparison to them. So they're quite good classes, plus they do absolutely tons of damage. And we're going to be using 2 main abilities in this situation, which is going to be Air Blast and Afterburn. These are super useful. Obviously Afterburn auto sets on an enemy, obviously except enemy Pyros. It would be unrealistic for it to apply to Pyros, seeing as they're obviously a fire class as well. So it will apply to other classes. It does good damage over time, and it's pretty overpowered, especially if you're against something like a Spy. It's pretty ridiculous. I am currently on a rapid fire crit server, so everything's just slightly a bit weird, and you can see how overpowered the flaregun is, which we're going to be covering later. One other thing is actually spy checking. Pyros are actually super useful to actually take out spies. Now what you want to do when you're a Pyro is just use your flamethrower just to burn around. For an example, this engineer, if the engineer wasn't moving, if you see him not shooting, if he's not building, then these are things that the spies can't replicate. So what you want to do in that situation is basically just spy check them, because obviously if they're not doing things that you'd expect them to do, then they could possibly be a spy. So you want to just use your flamethrower, just kind of flame around, just make sure they're not spies. Obviously if you set one of your teammates on fire, then it's going to be a spy. So Pyros are basically the best solution just to kind of wean out spies. The next thing is Air Blast, which we're going to cover because we just covered Afterburn. So when you right click, it does something called Air Blast. Now I can't show you on this server, on the crit server, because it's disabled, but basically it shoots out a puff of air which does multiple different things, and the Air Blast actually uses 20 ammo. So it uses ammo out of your flamethrower. Obviously you can have 2 different ammos if you run in the flare gun, but it uses ammo out of your flamethrower. It uses 20 ammo, and if you have the backburner, which is a different flamethrower, that's one of the custom weapons, it's actually going to use 50 ammo, so it's going to use even more. As you can see, I'm using the backburner and it says plus 150% air blast cost. That's basically it. So you're going to use 50 ammo to actually air blast with a backburner, which is pretty ridiculous because that means you can only air blast 4 times. Now what the air blast can do is it can push enemies back for a start, especially if you're on a map like 2-4, when someone comes over the side like a soldier who does like a rocket jump, you can just air blast them off, sometimes kill them if they're on low HP. So that's super useful. That's a super useful mechanic to actually use it for. Then you can also extinguish other Pyro's flamethrower afterburn effects on your teammates. So for an example, if I set this dude on fire and he was on the other team, and then if I come in as his ally, I can just right click on him and put out the flames. So you can kind of use it as a support fashion, which is super useful. And you can also reflect projectiles. So let's say a soldier was shooting at you, you can reflect all of his rockets back at him and possibly kill him, or just shift them away from your teammates, which is super useful. And it also works with, I think, Demo Man grenades from the nade launcher, so it's also useful to protect your teammates with and kind of reflect a little bit of that damage back on them. So you can kind of use it in that regard, and it can be used in many offensive and defensive situations. And that's because there's 2 different setups for the Pyro. There's the offensive Pyro, which obviously the whole purpose of what you want to do is go into large groups or large crowds of people at once and try and light them all up with the afterburner, because the flamethrower does a lot of damage. Even if you're not on a crit server, if you get a single crit on a normal server or just in general, it does so much damage, and especially to the squishy classes, it kills them so quickly, especially spies and scouts. If they get close, you're just going to get easy kills. So you want to try and go into large crowds. And then the second setup is obviously the defensive Pyro. So if you do play it like this, basically what your role is going to be is you're just going to be basically trying to deflect things back with air blast in a support fashion to try and aid your teammates. So be that projectiles or using it to extinguish your teammates. You can kind of do both these to be kind of like a support type of gameplay. So the next thing you've seen is obviously me using the flare gun. Now the flare gun is useful as a ranged weapon, and it's hard to show you on the crit server like I mentioned before, because you can basically rapid fire it and it's completely unrealistic, plus it's got maximum ammo, which does not do that on the normal servers. But basically it's a one shot before you reload on the normal servers like this, and it's kind of hard to shoot because you kind of got to predict where it's going to go. It shoots quite slowly, so you kind of got to learn to aim with it. The normal pyro requires no aiming whatsoever because you're just using a flamethrower. When it comes down to the flare gun, it's useful as a ranged weapon. It sets people on fire from a range, so you can get the afterburn effect on them, which is useful, and it does damage on the hit plus the additional flame damage. So it does damage when it hits them, then it does the afterburn fire damage once they start burning from it, and they burn for a few seconds. I think like 3 seconds or 4 seconds they burn for, exactly like the same effect that you get from the flamethrower. And it's also useful when you actually crit, because it's going to do more damage on crit. So if you're on a crit server, or if you just get a random crit on a casual server, once you actually hit with a flare gun, it's going to do tons of damage. Usually maybe 2 or 3 flare gun shots will kill someone, which is pretty useful. So yeah, that's basically all the tips I can give you on Pyro, guys. Just useful tips, kind of obviously beginner tips, so if you're a beginner at the game, you should be able to play Pyro effectively now. This isn't really designed for advanced users, but some of you might find it useful. But yeah, if these tips helped you, then definitely do like the video and subscribe. You can also check out the giveaway in the description. We are giving away a game this month, so do check that out and make sure you enter. And subscribe to the channel for more guides like this. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.